श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। गजाननं भूतगणादिसेवितं कपित्थजम्बूफलसारभक्षितम् उमासुतं शोकविनाशकारणं नमामि विघ्नेश्वरपादपङ्कजम्। शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। व्यासं वसिष्ठनप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकधातं तपोनिधिं। व्यासाय विष्णुरूपाय व्यासरूपाय विष्णवे नमो वै ब्रह्मनिधये वासिष्ठाय नमो नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं चैव ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। So yesterday we looked at Daumya and his disciples, right? We looked at Aruni, Upamanyu, and who's the other one?
Veda.
Good, thank you. Veda. So we looked at three of them, how they served their guru and what they did and from what benefits they gained from serving the guru, right? So we learned that. So the next, we also learned about Veda's student. His name was, what's his name?
Uttanka.
Very good, Uttanka. Okay, so we learned about Uttanka, how he did not give up, right? Even when it was difficult for him to get that earring for his guru's wife as Guru Dakshina, he still went ahead and tried everything and finally succeeded in getting that earring for his guru's wife, right, as Guru Dakshina. So with that, the story of them just passes there, okay? And we start with a new story today. Again, all of this related to Janamejaya and his snake sacrifice, okay? I think there was one question yesterday, but we will come to that question probably a little bit later. Don't see. Okay, let's start. So today we will look at Bhrigu, Rishi Bhrigu and his race, who is in Bhrigu's family, and the stories related to them. Okay. So if we look here, the first thing is, so Shaunaka, who was listening to all the stories that's narrated by Suta Mahamani, says, can you tell more about my family history? Okay. Who was in my family, what all they did it, and all those things. So Suta Mahamani starts saying that Bhrigu was born out of Brahma, he is Brahma's son, and he was born at a sacrifice performed by Varuna. When Varuna was performing a sacrifice, Varuna is the lord of oceans, okay, he's the god, deity of all the oceans and water. So when Varuna was performing his sacrifice, at that time Bhrigu was born, and Bhrigu had a son named Chavana. And Bhrigu had many sons. One of them is here named is Chavana. And Chavana had a son named Pramati. Pramati had a son named Ruru from Apsara called Gritachi. Okay, Gritachi and Pramati, they are the parents. Ruru was the son. And Ruru had a wife called Pramadwara. And for Pramadwara and Ruru, the son who was born is Shaunaka. Okay, that's the family tree at high level. So now Suta Mahamuni explains who is Chavana. Who is Chavana here? Okay, Bhrugu's story, birth story, everything comes later in Mahabharata. Here he explains about Chavana. So Bhrigu had a wife named Puloma. Okay, the wife's name is Puloma. She was heavily pregnant. One day Bhrigu went outside to do his morning prayers to the river. At that time, a Rakshasa, okay, a Rakshasa demon, he came with the name, his name was also Puloma. Okay, the Rakshasa's name was Puloma. The Bhrigu's wife's name is Puloma. Okay, so that Rakshasa came and he decided to carry Bhrigu's wife. Okay, he decided to carry Bhrigu's wife, and then at that house, Bhrigu's house, Bhrigu, because he is worshipping, doing sacrifices on daily basis, fire god, deity, Agni was there. Okay, and Agni tried to stop him. Then the Rakshasa says, when this Puloma, Bhrigu's wife, was young, little girl, her dad used to always say that I will give it to a Rakshasa. I will give it to a Rakshasa. If you don't do this, I will give it to a Rakshasa. Okay. He always used to say that. So parents normally sometimes say that, right? He was threatening her when she was very little girl. Puloma, Bhrigu's wife, was very little girl. He used to threaten her. The parents used to threaten her that I will give it to a Rakshasa. So this Rakshasa, Puloma, was listening to that and thought they are going to give her to me. Okay, that's what he thought. And then finally he found her, and now he tells Agni, that fire deity, that Agni, he tells her that her parents used to tell me that they will give her to me. That's why I'm taking. Am I doing anything wrong? He asks, that Rakshasa asks Agni. Agni hesitates for a second. If they already told him that they are going to give her, he always obviously is her husband. Who is annotating here? Who? Okay. So Agni hesitated for a second. Okay. Agni hesitated because he did not want to tell false. But then he realized that Bhrigu married Puloma. Okay. Then he quietly says he didn't want to tell lie, but also he was a little bit worried that he might tell lie. Okay. So he quietly says Bhrigu actually married her, duly married her. So that's why she is Bhrigu's wife. But the Rakshasa did not hear. He thought Agni has agreed for him to take her, so he carried Puloma. Okay, the Puloma Rakshasa carried Bhrigu's wife Puloma. When he was carrying, because in the form of a boar, wild boar, he carried her. While she was being carried, because she was heavily pregnant, a son was born. Okay, and that son, because he just slid through when he was moving, he was called Chavana. Okay, he was called Chavana. And when Rakshasa saw that child, when that child opened his eyes, suddenly Rakshasa got burnt into ashes. He had that child, when he was born itself, he had so much energy and power. Okay, that child, the Rakshasa, Puloma, got burnt. The mother Puloma then took Chavana in her hands, went to ashrama, went to her home back, and then told everything to Bhrigu what happened. Bhrigu, at that time, Puloma was crying as well, and from her tears, a river started flowing. And Brahma is Bhrigu's father, right? So Chavana's grandfather. So Brahma says, this river is going to be called Vasudhara. Okay, so there is a river started flowing called Vasudhara, and Bhrigu stayed. Bhrigu, after that, Mahabharata says that Bhrigu and everybody stayed near that river. So coming back to the story, Puloma went home and she told everything to Bhrigu, and Bhrigu got very angry that fire, Agni, did not protect. Okay, that home. Agni is supposed to protect. So, but he did not. So he curses Agni that you shall eat everything from now onwards. Okay, clean stuff, unclean, whatever that throws into the fire, get burnt. Okay, Agni will eat everything. Previously, Agni used to eat only the things which are sacred, that is pouring geese and all the payasa and everything else that pour into sacrifice fire. He used to eat only those things. But here Bhrigu curses him that you become somebody who eats everything. Okay, so Agni became very sad. He says, I did say that she is your wife, but you cursing in anger is not good thing. And then Agni leaves from there, and he was very, very, very sad. He was thinking what to do, and then he just goes away. He withdraws himself and goes away. And what that means is nobody can do any sacrifice because the fire is not there. Agni is not there. Whoever invites Agni for their sacrifice, Agni is not coming. Okay, so all the sacrifices, everything stopped. All the rishis and deities, everybody got worried. They went to Brahma, and then they said, this is what happened. Agni is not coming. Whenever we invoke Agni, Agni is not coming. Brahma summons Agni and tells him that you are always pure. Okay, whatever happens, you are always pure. So anything that you touch becomes pure. Even if somebody throws unclean stuff into fire, that becomes pure. Okay, so he gives that blessings to Agni, and then with that Agni becomes satisfied, and then all the sacrifices return to normal. The importance here again, this curse from Bhrigu is that Janameja snake sacrifice, if it was in normal times, it would not have happened, because pouring snakes into a sacrifice is not a clean thing, right? So here, because of Bhrigu's curse, Agni starts accepting everything in a sacrifice. Okay, so this is one story again linked to Janameja snake sacrifice, but the story continues next. Ruru. Okay, so as I said, Chavana had a son called Pramati. Pramati and was born of Chavana and Sukanya. Okay, there is another story related to Chavana and Sukanya. Chavana, when he was very old, he married a princess called Sukanya, and through worshipping Ashwini deities, Chavana regains his youth. Okay, so there is a story, and then Chavana makes Ashwini one of the receivers of all the sacrifice offering as well. So, but coming back here, Pramati had a son called Ruru. Okay, and one day there was a Gandharva, who is a celestial, called Vishwavasu, and through Apsara called Menaka, they had a child. Gandharva called Vishwavasu and Menaka had a child, and they dropped that daughter near river bank, and Menaka went back to heaven. Okay, there was a rishi called Stulakesha. Okay, and that rishi picked up that baby and that girl, and he nurtured that girl. When that girl grew older, she was very, very beautiful, and the rishi gave her a name, Pramadwara. That means there is no one equal to her beauty. Okay, so when she becomes old, okay, young age, Ruru comes and sees her, and he falls in love with her. Okay, he goes to Chavana, and then Pramati, and Pramati goes to Stulakesha, and they agree for their marriage on a they fix the marriage date. Engagement is done. Next, one day when Pramadwara was outside picking some flowers and fruits and everything, a snake bites her. Okay, with that poison, she dies immediately. In that forest itself, she dies immediately. All the forest dwelling rishis, everybody assembled there. They were all sad and very sad at Pramadwara's death. But Ruru was so shocked, he just leaves the place and goes into a forest where there is nobody and just start screaming, if I have done anything good in this life, if I have done any penance, if I have done anything good, let her come back in life. Okay. So on hearing that, because he's a rishi, okay, and he has done a lot of penance, and he says, if I have done anything good, if I have done any penance, let her come back. His words can't go false. Okay. So then celestial, a messenger comes from heaven. He says, once somebody is, whoever is in this world, they live only as much life as they got. They can't live longer than that. And then he says, only way she can come back to life is if you share half of your age, your life. Okay, if you are supposed to live 70 years, if you give 35 years to her, she will live 35 years, okay, along with you. So Ruru, without any hesitation, he agrees. And then what happens is Pramadwara comes back to life, okay, and they both live after that. They get married and live happily. So, but Ruru keeps thinking about this incident of snake bite, and he starts killing wherever there is he sees a snake, he starts killing that snakes. One day when he was in a forest, he sees a snake, and as he was about to hit it, the snake starts talking. It says, okay, don't kill. Okay. And then Ruru asks him, who are you? What are you doing here? How can a snake speak like this? Okay. And then that snake says that my name is Dunduba. Okay. I was a Brahmin called Sahasrapath. Once upon a time, I was a Brahmin called Sahasrapath. When I was in a guru's ashrama, guru's house, my friend called Kagama, he was doing a sacrifice, a fire offering. Okay. When he was doing that puja, I was a little bit naughty. I made from the grass, I made a snake and put on his shoulders. Okay. Just to scare him. I was a little bit naughty. And then that Kagama got angry and he said, because you made a snake to scare me, you become a snake. Okay. And that's why I became a snake now. I'm living life as a snake. But Kagama told me that once I meet Ruru, my curse will go away. And that's why I'm back to a Brahmin now as my old form. So Dunduba, that snake, turns into a Brahmin boy at that point. And then that Brahmin boy says that Brahmana should never kill anybody, should never harm anybody. He should be very mild. He should be looking after all the creatures. He should be forgiving, truthful. This applies to others as well. Again, what it says is Brahmana should inspire all the other creatures by his life. He should never get angry. Okay. So that's what Dunduba or the Shatapada Sahasrapath says here. And then Dunduba or the Sahasrapath also says that you must live like a Brahmana called Astika. That Astika rescued the snakes from Janameja snake sacrifice. Okay. So this here, then Ruru starts thinking, what is this snake sacrifice? Who did this? And he wanted to know a little bit more. Okay. So we will come to that snake sacrifice, which is in the next chapter called Astika Parva. Okay. We will look at that in next class probably. Okay. At this moment, is there any questions on today's story? So what we said today was Bhrigu had a son called Chavana, who was born of Puloma. Puloma was pregnant and was carried by a Rakshasa. Agni got cursed because he did not protect. And then Rakshasa got killed when Chavana was born from his energy, right? And then Chavana had a son called Pramati, and Pramati had a son called Ruru. Ruru married Pramadwara by rescuing, giving her life back by sacrificing his own share of life. Okay, that's the love story. Okay, if that was a love story in today's world, okay, see, you see in all the movies these love stories. There was love stories in the old days in Mahabharata as well. Okay, somebody giving a life for their love. Okay, a share of their love. So that love story in Mahabharata, Ruru and Pramadwara, Ruru was killing all the snakes, and then at that time Ruru hears about a Brahmana called Astika. Astika, who rescued the snakes from the sacrifice. Okay, Janamejay's sacrifice. Any questions at this moment? Anyone? No? All good today?
What are Brahmins?
Okay. Brahmana, there are 4 orders. Okay. In Shastra says there are 4 orders: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Okay. 4 orders, 4 classes of people. So again, this I think I covered in the summer class. So when we say Brahmanas, again, each one of them is a stage where your Atma is in the stage to its attaining moksha. Okay, so once human life starts within a Shudra, and then in the next life, continuous life, it becomes Vaishya, and then Kshatriya, and then Brahmana. Brahmana is by duty, he is supposed to do learning of Vedas, teaching, accepting gift, giving gift, and then doing sacrifices, and also performing sacrifices for others. Those are these main duties. He's supposed to be mild character, he's supposed to be peace loving, and all these things. Okay, he's like that. Kshatriya is the protector of all the other groups, other individuals. He is the king, and he is the army, and all those things. Kshatriyas. Vaishya, they are merchants looking after cattle, agriculture, all these things, classes, they are Vaishyas. Shudras are supposed to do the service to the other 3 orders. Okay, their life duty is to do the service to the other 3 orders. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Ritvik?
Why did the snake and who like turned into a snake, the guy who turned into a snake, thought it would be funny to put the snake on the guy who's doing his sacrifice?
Because children, right, always think naughty stuff. That's what it is. Nothing more on that point, because he thought this guy was doing a puja, okay, with full concentration, focusing on, okay, let me just trick him. Let's see what he does, right? So that's what he did. He tried to put a snake and see whether he jumps out. Okay, in the olden days, unfortunately, there was no mobile camera. Otherwise, he would have recorded it and laughed at alone. Okay, but he wanted to just make a laugh. That's why he did. So he did that.
Okay, thanks.
Just being childish. That's again, the lesson is, if somebody is focusing on something, even if you're naughty, just control a little bit, think before what you want to do.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I think there was one question yesterday before it got disconnected. I did not hear.
I remember that question, but I'm not sure who gave it. It was you. No, I didn't. Yeah,
I think it is Ram and. Okay. If no other questions, let me just switch to another small topic, which somebody posted a question on different philosophies in our dharma. Okay, so how do we learn what are the philosophies in our dharma, different ways of looking at things? So there are mainly 5 philosophies in our Sanatana Dharma. They are called Advaita, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Shuddhadvaita, Achintya Beda Beda, Dvaita Dvaita. Okay, so there are different acharyas Sri Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanuja, Vallabhacharya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nimacharya. So like that, there are different people who came and tried to explain us how to understand Parabrahma, Narayana, how to understand this life and this life's relation to Bhagavan. Okay, how to understand the link between this world, the us, okay, as a one individual, to the world we live in, and to the Paramatma, how to understand. So there are three things: Brahman, which is the Paramatma, right? Atma, which is the soul, as in English. So Atma and the universe. So that's one we live, the Paramatma and the Jagat. How do we link these things? So I'm just going to cover probably three things. These are very deep topics, if probably difficult for children to understand, but there was a question I'm just going to try at high level. Okay. So first, if you look at it, Advaita, Advaita means there is no two things. Okay. Dvaita means there are two separate things. Advaita means there is no two. Okay. It's all one. So Advaita, by Advaita philosophy was from Adi Shankaracharya. Okay, Shankaracharya came to this earth and was in this point when Hindu Dharma, Sanatana Dharma was at its very difficult stage, because everybody was renouncing Hindu Dharma, Sanatana Dharma, and moving away. At that time, Sanatana Dharma, he came, and there are a lot of different opinions and everything else. Shankaracharya came, Avatara, we call Shankaracharya Avatara. He came in that time, and then he united everyone. Okay. Shankaracharya Advaita philosophy says that when one acquires knowledge, okay, when acquires knowledge, jnana, self-realization, at that time, there is no difference between what is inside me and what is in Paramatma. Everything is same. Okay. So everything is same. Paramatma is the ultimate truth, and everything else is false, because everything else has an end. Everything that we see today has an end. Paramatma alone is the ultimate, and there is no end to him. Okay, that's what Shankaracharya says. And then Dvaita is from Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya is slightly different. He teaches mainly on the bhakti, okay, devotion and surrender to Vishnu. Vishnu is the supreme Brahman here. And here Vishnu again, the Atma is different what we have, and it is different to Paramatma. Okay, what we are is different to what Paramatma is. And that's what Dvaita mainly suggests. And then when we go into Vishishtadvaita, which is kind of mixture of Advaita and Dvaita. Okay, they consider Jiva and universe are essentially Paramatma itself, but they are different. And there, here again, it's kind of bhakti, surrendering to Bhagavan. These are kind of key things. I think at this moment, what I would say is these are very deep concepts. What I would suggest is, for us, we need to focus on doing good things, learn our duties, okay, be kind to everybody, okay, those are the key things, and then try to gain as much knowledge as possible, right? If we do that, then it would be good. I think those were the things I wanted to cover. Any other general questions anyone got? Yeah, Rika, I don't know whether you wanted to.
What's a philosophy?
So it's explaining, it's called Vedanta. So it's explaining the Vedas in a simple terms. How do we understand Bhagavan? Okay, how do we understand what is Bhagavan and how do we relate to Bhagavan? All these explanations come in Vedanta.
Thank you.
Yeah, Anna. If you raise
Why-
hand like this, I may not see it.
Why do we have to learn our jobs?
Because, sorry, why do we have to learn our jobs?
Yeah.
Okay, so there is two parts. One is we all have to be good, right? We don't want to be the bad people. Okay, that's the main thing. What our dharma teaches us is to be how to be good. That's the first aim. Okay, by being good, our atma, the everyone, all the living people, we have atmas, and living or living, non-living, everything that's in this creation, whatever we see in this world has atma, part of Paramatma, okay? And that Atma attains moksha. Moksha is final destination, going back to the Bhagavan himself, okay? So continuously as the creatures that's born keep doing the good, they will get better and better life and ultimately return to Paramatma. So there is two parts. First one is just being good, okay? By reading all these things, learning all this, it keeps telling us today, for example, we said we should not do harm to anybody, right? Ruru's story, when we are looking, he was hurting the snakes. Okay, Dunduba, the snake, says that you should never hurt anybody, right? So that's the important thing. So things like that, we should keep learning and we should keep following those things.
Thank you.
Chinmayi.
Which is the highest philosophy?
It depends, okay? Everybody, if we look at who follow Advaita, they say that's the highest. If you look at Dvaita, they say theirs is highest. Everyone argues over it. Okay, even Advaita, if for example, even in Advaita, Shankaracharya says that till one attains that knowledge, jnana, self-realization, it is all Dvaita. Okay, so it is all multiple. Atma is different, this body is different to Paramatma. We see that, that's how we see it. But once we realize that jnana, that knowledge, everything becomes one. We see it, everything as one.
Which explains philosophy best?
Everyone, so it's all a journey. The way I see it, it's all a journey, right? So you start with probably with, I follow Advaita. Okay, we follow Shankaracharya's teachings. Okay, but having said that, I also listen to Dvaita, what Madhvacharya says, because there are things learning, because acquiring knowledge through different sources is no harm. Okay, and for us to reach that stage where Shankaracharya says to realize the Paramatma, we have to have a lot of knowledge. So I think today, a lot of people spend arguing which one is better rather than trying to learn something from everybody. They take the good things from everyone and how to be that person and realize that Paramatma. Instead of that, we spend a lot of time arguing what is Dvaita, what is Advaita.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, anyone?
Can you explain the full goals of Hinduism?
Full
Goals of Hinduism.
goals.
Yeah.
Ultimate goal is to attain moksha. Okay, so the ultimate goal is to attain moksha, which is the Atma returning to Paramatma. That's the ultimate goal. And on a day-to-day basis, the goal is to live good life without harming anybody.
Okay.
Any other questions? Or we close today a little bit early? Okay, in that case, we'll close today and we'll see you all tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow we start Astika Parva, and it is not just, we are not just going to discuss about Janamejay's snake sacrifice. We learn about how the snakes were born, how Garuda was born, okay, how the ocean churning happened. If you remember, there is a story of ocean churning, okay, how all that happened. All these things we will learn in that parva, in that section, okay. So we'll start that tomorrow. Tomorrow is last class for this week. We probably will continue next week. Saturday, Sunday, no classes, okay, no sessions. So you can have a break. If you have any other questions, send them to me. We will cover as well, okay? If any other questions on why we do things, how we do things, what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. If I don't know, I will try to find the answers, okay? Thank you, everyone. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.